Welcome to Toffee TV. There's my three things. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. The Blues comfortably beaten at Old Trafford this afternoon. A disappointing day, really. Just the performance, the result. Results come and go, don't they? We've had some defeats at Old Trafford down the years. We know that. I think United have only beaten Spurs more than they've beaten Everton. They might have equalled that today in the Premier League era. So it's not a fixture we win very often, particularly at Old Trafford. And I think the players look like they had read that stat as well. And that's really what I'm going to start with. It is that mentality when we go away to these grounds. Like I've just said there, the players for me looked like they were beaten before they'd gone out there today. There was no real belief in any of them that they could get a result there. And that bled through the team. You know, Manchester United are a good side, we know they are. I don't think they're particularly free-flowing. You get opportunities against them. Everton have finished the game with 15 attempts at goal away from home, but 1 on target. More on that in a bit. But if that was at Goodison, that would have been a totally different game. And that might be a very, very obvious statement to make. The pitch is different for a start in the stadium. But it might be a very obvious statement to make. But what I mean by that is Everton will be in the faces. They will be having that belief they could get a result going at them because the crowd are behind them. And yet the good teams, and I know, listen, Everton aren't a good side. We know. The league will tell you that. But to go away to these grounds, you've got to have a mentality. You've got to have a belief you can get results. And we've seen 3 similar performances now. Even under Dyche, we've seen it under Lampard. Arsenal away, Liverpool away, United away. Where there's been no real belief in what they're doing. As in, the players just don't believe they can get that win. And without that, it's a huge problem. Because, Everton are terrible away from home anyway. They're absolutely dire. We've won 1 away game all season at Southampton. We're poor. If Everton are to stay in this league, they're going to have to win some away games. It's just a fact. Now the games are running out. That's 2 games, where they haven't won the last 2 games now. Since we beat Brentford, we haven't picked up a win in those games. So that's how tight it's getting now. So they're going to have to win away games. And you have to have a belief when you go away in what you're doing. You have to have a belief, no matter who you're playing, that you can get that win. And when we go to these big sets, it's been like this. This isn't a Sean Dyche issue, by the way. It's been like this for years with Everton. Go to these grounds against these teams and just almost throw the towel in before they've gone out. The only one manager they didn't really do it under was Carlo Ancelotti when he went and won a lot of these places. But it was a COVID season and different things. It might have been totally different with fans there, mightn't it? But we haven't been able to get this balance right at any time. I don't know how you do it. Better players, maybe. I don't know. But something needs to change because today there wasn't like the performances we've been seeing. Second thing I want to talk about are the forward players. We just, again, say it every week, and again, it might be a bit boring, but I don't care because I want people, it needs to be a subject that's brought up time and time and time again. These players are not good enough for what we need. And some people will listen to this and will be offended by it as like a personal attack. They're not good enough. They don't score enough goals. None of them. Ellis Sims is a young lad trying to build a Premier League career, learning the game. I'm not really having a go with Ellis Sims. But more Neil Maupay as an option off the bench. Not good enough. Alex Iwobi doesn't score anywhere near enough goals. Damari Gray, not good enough for what we need. Good footballers in their own right. There's no question about that. But if they're occupying our attacking our attacking spaces, Dwight McNeil, if they're occupying our forward areas, we need people in those areas who can score goals. When we've seen today, 15 attempts at goal, 1 on target, and that was a Seamus Coleman shot from about 30 yards or 25 yards, which De Gea saved. All had opportunities. Gray had his opportunities. McNeil had chances to shoot. Iwobi passed it rather than shooting. They're not lads that want to pull the trigger. and have a go. And for Everton to move forward and get better, they're going to need better forward players. It's as simple as that. Goals are what win your games. Goals turn teams from one end of the table up the other because you can get goals. And Everton don't have that, and that's the biggest thing that we have to address this summer. Whatever division we're in, we have to bring in 2 or 3 forward players this summer, because what we've got in the building right now isn't good enough. That's just a fact. That's not questioning whether Dwight McNeil's been better of late. He has. He's been mild. He wasn't very good today. He had his worst game today for some time. He's been way better under Sean Dyche. Doesn't mean Alex Iwobi hasn't turned in some strong displays this season, because he has. He was poor today. You know, they're still good footballers. Damari Gray, as you know, our leading scorer with 4 or whatever, has had some games when he's been really good, but didn't have a good game today. But even when these players are at the very peak of their powers, they're all in the team at the same time, and none of them have got a record of scoring goals. And so, you're not saying they're not good enough to be in our squad, but you can't put 3 lads in your front positions, or 3 of the front 4 if Iwobi is the fella joining in, or if he's on the wing, and expect to do well when none of them have got goals in them, and then go, oh well, yeah, but they're good players. You need goals. It's a fundamental part of the game. So, like I said, all good squad players, no question about it, but for what we need, they're not good enough because they don't score enough goals. You can get away with one of them in your team, of course, if you've got other players occupying the areas that get you goals. Today was evident. When we break, when we get into good moments, we don't know what we're doing with the ball. We saw it against Spurs, got to the final third. Terrible decision making, because there's no one in that final third who can come up with a goal, and excuse me, that's an area that is massive for Everton in the summer, whatever division we're in, because to improve this team, we need to just throw a ton of goals in this side. Difficult to do. And the third and final thing really is just this defeat isn't the end of the world. It's disappointing. I'm disappointed Saturday. I'm disappointed in the performance. It's not the defeat. The defeat, like I said before, defeats will come and go. It's not like this is a shock defeat getting beat at Man United. We generally lose at Old Trafford. I know we've had draws over the last few years, but a lot of the time we have lost this game. But it was just a manner today in which we lose the game. It was poor. The performance was poor. But we're going into a situation now where there's obviously games being played right now that all affect us. And we're going to have to hang on in there and be gritty and battle. We're going to have to stay positive as we can. We're going to have to back the team, which we will continue to do. And I think there's obviously going to be lots of ups and downs in this. This is not something, sadly for us, that A, we can guarantee will be okay, and B, get sorted out relatively quickly, so we don't have the stress of the end of the season. I think, whether we like it or not, it looks very likely that we're going to need to beat Bournemouth to give us a chance of staying up. And that's grim, because that is the end of May. And, I'd love nothing better than Everton to go on imagine us winning the next 3 games and virtually being safe. Would be amazing. I just don't see it happening. And therefore, it is going to be this thing of games flying by week, but you're not really moving anywhere. And I hate the fact you have to go and look at, you're checking your phone to see how the other teams are getting on and you feel powerless. That's worse than watching Everton. It's worse than watching your team in that situation. Watching others and needing others to get results. So we've all got to somehow remain positive, stay behind the team. Today's gone now. It was a poor display. We got what we deserved out of it. We move on. We've all guns blazing next week against Fulham, which is a huge match at Goodison Park next week. And it's one Everton simply have to win. There's no other result. There can be no other outcome. It's a must win. And let's hope we can do it. that's it for me. Enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. It really helps the channel and we really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you later.